We also have some slope settings here, so we can set a slope angle at which foliage cannot be placed. So if we were to bring this really far down to like 14%, then as soon as our foliage hits an angle of 14%, it will not place more. So as you can see right here, this area is clearly over, 14-degree incline, and so it doesn't want to paint there. So if you're working with hills, cliffs, stuff like that, kind of like we are here, then you might want to play around with this. We also have the height, which is pretty self-explanatory. At what point can we and can't we, place foliage. I could set this to like the max height to like 20, and then I wouldn't be able to paint it up here, and I'd have to move like way, way far down. I don't even know if anything in this scene is at Z20, but in any case, that's a thing. Next, we have the mobility. So by default, it's probably best to make your foliage be static. That way, you're not constantly building lighting on all of these many, many, many objects. We have cast shadows, so we can toggle this if we want to be, more performant. We can allow dynamic shadows and stuff like that. We can also set the collision, which by default is set to no collision, which is probably the best thing for it to be set to. Otherwise, we would get stuck on all of our plants, and we wouldn't be able to walk through them. And in real life, you can walk through plants or around them. You know what I mean. So in any case, another pretty important one is the cold distance here. And if you're working with a really large landscape, then what you're going to want to do is actually set a cold distance. So like, let's say I set this to 1,000. It says 100,000 here. Then once I get 1,000 units away from the foliage, it will become invisible, because foliage can become very costly on your system. Realistically, you'd probably want it to be a little higher than 1,000, maybe like 5,000, 4,000, something like that. And as you can see, once we get close to it, it appears. Once we get farther away, it goes away, and that just helps to save performance. I feel like I've said the word performance way too many times in this course, but hey, you know what? I had to be done. And that's actually about it. We've got a couple other settings here, like for example, if we were to paint in a bit of foliage, and if we went to the lasso, we could actually just select a bunch of these assets here, and we could duplicate them over to some other area if we wanted to, or we could maybe delete those. We can also manually switch to the erase mode here. We can select and remove, an area of foliage. All pretty self-explanatory stuff. Deselect, select invalid foliage, lasso select, which is just basically what I just previously did. But yeah, so that is about it for an overview of the landscape tool. It's really simple, very straightforward. And in the next video, we are going to get into painting in all of this wonderful, wonderful foliage. So I will see you in the next video.